What's up everybody, Byron here from ETA, and if I seem a little excited right now, it's because I genuinely am. It has taken me 3 years to get this pistol on this channel. Meet the IWI Masada Slim Elite. Comes in a nice hard case. You get the pistol, a 13 round, 17 round magazine. You get your hardware and screws here, which you can't see because it's not on camera, but it's here. Get a manual and some stickers. You get a couple of interchangeable grip straps, which is a variant from the original Masada Slim. All right, we don't need this anymore. Now, 2022, this pistol was introduced, and they pretty quickly sold out everywhere. And I know, because I've been searching for one of these since August of 22. I keep sending emails to people. I keep getting laughed at in return. I've gone on to Gunbroker. I've seen people trying to charge $7+ for these. It's ridiculous. But have no fear, because IWI has finally landed another shipment in the United States, as you can tell. So this is the Masada 9S Elite. So what makes it an Elite? Let's talk about it. Optics cut native RMSC, taller sights. These are dovetailed and not screwed in like a Glock or a traditional Masada style sight. Get a 17 round magazine and a 13. If you're really cheap like me, you can also run your CZ75 magazines in this pistol. You get enhanced grip texture all the way around the pistol, which I'm going to show you a close up here, and those interchangeable back straps, which make a world of difference, as well as a slight flared and beveled magwell, which just gives you a much better locked on purchase of the gun. It is not removable, so if that's a thing you're concerned about, this may not be the pistol for you. So let's get into it. First, I'll give you a little close up. I've got the large back strap currently installed right now. You can see that enhanced grip texture. You can see the flared magwell. And for those of you who may be new to shooting, and maybe this is one of the first gun reviews you've seen, the purpose of the flared magwell is just to help you when you're reloading under stress. It just helps it line up a little better. You don't have to be quite as precise. So if your adrenaline's going and you're in the heat of the moment, there you go. First thing I'm going to get out about this gun is what a lot of gun tubers complain about, which is how you take this down for cleaning. Pistol is completely clear. We're in a controlled environment. And for my YouTube sensor, this is considered normal maintenance. And by the way, I just want to comment on how absurdly butter smooth this pistol is. And I'll show you why. So step one, clear your pistol, remove the magazine, all that good stuff. Slide the disassembly tab forward. And now you have access to this little pin. If you've ever taken apart a CZ pistol, or in fact a Browning high power, this is not that big of a deal, but for some people apparently it is. So you just bring it back about the same distance that you would bring back a standard Glock. I'm going to grab my little cool tool because I don't have fingernails. You can also use a toothpick or whatever you got, really. And once it gets broken in, by the way, this pin will come out very, very easily. So I'm not putting a great deal of pressure on the pin. You're just trying to get it to slide back a little. That's it. The rest of the disassembly is as normal. One of the cool little features we're going to talk about is you can take these two pins out right here, and this entire fire control mechanism comes out. There's a company called Mischief Machine. They make a Commander 1911 frame for this pistol. So you just drop your fire control module into that pistol, and now you essentially have an officer size 1911-ish of a pistol. The rest of the disassembly is as you would expect. It's quite normal. It has what's becoming more and more standard now. This is a 4-piece guide rod. What do I mean by that? You got the guide rod itself, you got a bushing that rides over it, and then you have 2 springs. So 2 springs, 2 pieces of the guide rod, it's a 4-piece guide rod. 3.6-inch barrel. Unlike some of my ported guns, it's all barrel. Go ahead and slap this back together real quick. And I'm doing this on purpose just so I can show you guys. Sometimes you see things on YouTube and people write about things to complain about them. Look. Hold the pistol, pops in with just normal finger pressure. Run the slide to the rear. Flip your disassembly latch to the rear, and there you go. This trigger is remarkable, and we're going to measure it. But I've already gone ahead and done it, and I got an average of 4.15 pounds out of the box on a carry gun. That's pretty nice. Shadow. Hey, I got my Shadow systems down there, and we're gonna do a little comparison as well. So we're just gonna do this a couple of times. As I said, I've already done it. I'm just doing it for the video right now because I've already done my pre-inspection on my pistol because I'm a good gun owner. So that was 4.1. Okay. And reset. 4.1. Reset. 4.7. All right. We'll go a couple more. 4.1. By the way, I want to add, when I properly lubricated this pistol, the trigger pull was quite remarkable. That was 3.12, and I think that was an aberration. I don't think that was normal. That was me. Okay, 4.15. That was, I had to be doing that wrong. That was 3.5 pounds. There we go, 4.3. It's fairly consistent. 4.1. And like I said, remember, this is not the end-all, beat-all of tests and measurements, right? Because you could have a 4-pound trigger that feels like crap. I know, I've had several. But what you find is you got just a little bit of take-up. There's no slop. It's just take-up, and you're on the wall. Crisp break. Reset right at the 90. If you like Canic triggers, you'll probably really like this trigger a lot. I've also got the Masada full size, and it also breaks at a very consistent, after it was broken in, I want to throw that caveat out there. When it was new, it had a 5-pound trigger. Now that I've got 1,000 rounds through the Masada, the full size, it continuously breaks right at about 4 pounds, 3.68 to 4 pounds. That's the average for the Masada. This is starting already at 4 pounds, and I bet it's gonna drop a little bit closer to the 4-pound mark, or maybe just a hair under once it gets properly broken in. This is not a gun that you're gonna buy, take out of the box, and go straight to the range. This gun came absolutely dry as the Sahara. I had to lube it. And that's why I was telling you when I was first checking it, like in the gun store, I was like, oh, this has got a really heavy trigger. and then I got it all apart, I got it cleaned, and then I got it lubricated. And I like that, man. That's just a nice trigger. You got a single dot up front, you got a blacked out rear. For some reason, somebody complained, because if you look, those are filled in dots back here. Hopefully that'll come out on the photo. But somebody actually complained. Like they said, oh, it's a 3-dot sight system. It's not, dude. It's blacked out. When you're aiming down the sights, you don't really notice it unless you are not following proper shooting practices and you're focusing on your rear sight, which you shouldn't do. You should always focus on the front sight, front sight, front sight. That is what makes the world go round with the pistol. Anyway, very nice flared magwell, very good texturing all the way around, and just a very compact package. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of pistols here for comparison. This is my EDC, and this is a Shield Plus Performance Center carry comp. There's a 4-inch barrel. I generally carry it with the 13 round magazines because I like that form factor overall the best. This also has approximately a 4-pound trigger. It's a little bit less than a 4-pound trigger, but we'll call it a 4-pound trigger overall. So the reason that I'm doing this comparison and showing you what they look like this is because these Masadas may not actually be in your local gun shop. Okay, so you're going to want something that you can readily compare it to in your head. Here you can see the grip profile. The shield is in fact a little shorter. You can really see it there, right? Go ahead and put you away. I'm going to pull out the shadow. This is my very beloved CR920 XP. Absolutely love this gun. If you notice, I'm rocking the Osight S on this. I really like this optic. And in fact, I liked it so much, we're going to do a review on the Osight SE, which is the new one, on the Masada pistol. So, the reason I'm showing you the shadow in particular is because this is approximately the same footprint as a Glock 48. And if you take a ½ an inch off the end of that, you'll have a Glock 43X. So it is just about the same exact size as a Glock 43X or 48. A 48 has a 4-inch barrel, a 43X has like a 3.6, right? So if you took a ½ an inch off the end of this, these would be pretty much very comparable. Now, the Glock is skinnier, whereas this is just a slight bit wider. So this is about 1 inch, this is 1.2 inch. And just for kink factor, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Canik MC9 Prime. This is the Canik MC9 Prime. I'm just gonna give you a little visual. The Canik is a little longer. It is about the same width, by the way. And it is a hair longer. So this is just a slightly bigger gun overall. In case you guys do watch this and you're also interested in the Canik MC9 Prime, that video will be up soon. This is a Muddy River tactical holster. Do not use the holster that comes with the Canik. That's all. Back to the Masada. So, really nice sights. It is a U-notch rear sight. It is not a square notch rear sight. Some people like that, some people don't. But you can change it out. This takes SIG P320 pattern grooves. Okay, so you can just pop the sights out, take your measurement, and put whatever P320 groove, P320 dovetail sights you want. So you can buy some used SIG sights on eBay, throw them on your pistol. Now you've got some nice night sights, for example. I wish the front had a tritium dot. I'm going to replace the front with a tritium dot at some point, but not right now, not for this review. So overall, I really like it. It's hard not to find something that I like it, that I don't like about this pistol. But we're going to cover one of them. One of the things I do not like about this pistol is the holster availability. So I reached out to Orpaz Defense and just plucked this bad boy out of the mail today, as a matter of fact. So I've still got some adjustments to make. But here is a very nice minimalist IWB concealment option, already cut for an optic. The only thing that I dislike about this is the fact that it is a plastic clip, and I am a big believer in DCC metal clips on everything that I carry. So I am going to get a little adjusted to this. However, I do want to say for a plastic clip, it is quite rigid, it is quite firm, and I do like that. Now, I've also gone ahead and I've got the EV Pro Kit, which gives you a couple of different ways to mount it. Not really going super in depth on this holster, by the way. This is just, I happen to have 3 products. I haven't made some videos in a while, so I do apologize. I am trying to catch up. I'm a busy dude at work, man. So this gives you a nice little kind of a discreet carry method. It's called a J-clip. A lot of people, unless you've been carrying concealed for quite a while, have probably never experienced a J-clip, but this is what a J-clip is. And it's called that because the bottom looks like a J. So this hooks on the top and bottom of your carry belt, about like so. And just gives you a little bit of a discreet option, a little less visible. I typically carry strong side, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you this. Now, I do not have a concealed carry belt on. I have a Groove Life belt on. However, I just want to show you this holster works. I mean, yeah, it's printing. This is also a tighter shirt, and I'm a fat guy, but there you go, right? Works. It does what I need it to do, even with a non-traditional carry belt. And it is quite comfortable, even when seated. I can draw. And if I can clear my shirt out of the way, I can re-holster while seated, like so. Now we're going to pop this bad boy off. So even if you're seated, you can, there it goes. Even if you're seated, you can don and doff the holster. So this just happens to be another way of mounting it. Something that's kind of interesting, and I'm going to pop this back panel off to show you. This uses a series of posts. If you take a look here, you can see them. So those posts interact and fit into the top of the holster to get your mounting, okay? So, not quite sure how I feel about that right now, but we're going to try it. We're giving it an honest-to-God effort. If I'm not happy with this holster, I'm going to contact Muddy River. They do produce one for the Masada Slim Elite, and you do want one for the Elite because this has a little bit of a different profile on the Picatinny rail. If you do intend to run an optic on, or not an optic, but if you do intend to run a light on this pistol, your holster selection gets very small very quick. Just throwing that out there. There's already maybe 10 to 15 different options for the Masada Slim. And believe me, once this pistol starts taking off, they're going to start producing all kinds of stuff. This is the sweat shield that also comes with it. And it just plugs very firmly, I may add, into here. And just helps keep that gun a little bit off your body, but it also gives you something that you can kind of leverage a little bit slightly when you pull it. Actually, no, I don't know that I would do that, but it just, it helps keep it off your fat rolls if you're a fat bastard like me, okay? And as you can tell, it also adds a little bit of a secondary to removing it, which I kind of don't like. Ooh. There we go. I have to adjust the retention because it is quite firm right now. There we go. So that's the Orpez holster in a nutshell. If you do carry ambidextrous, it does come with 2 different size wings in the Evo kit. And the Evo kit is a very small, minimal add-on overall to the cost. So there's that. I don't know how I feel about the sweat guard, but I'm going to leave it on. We're going to do an honest-to-God 30-day review on this holster in the near future. So expect that about 30 days. And the way that I edit videos, probably the next day after this video airs. So now that we've got my initial thoughts out of the way, I have not fired this pistol yet. I'm going to be changing that here hopefully soon. We're just going to go ahead and take off the optics plate, show you what it looks like in there, and then we're going to go ahead and mount the Osight SE. And I just want to throw this out there. These Osight optics are really nice. The original Olight Osight is not a very good optic. As you can tell by the reviews, people have destroyed them pretty damn quick. This is not that pistol. This is not that optic. Okay, it is a sister company of the Olight Corporation, but I wouldn't put it in the same category as Olight. And by the way, I own several Olights. I like their products quite a bit. I love their flashlights. I will caveat that with saying I have never used a weapons light from Osight, or Olight, sorry. So I will caveat that by saying that. I've never used their weapons light. But their optic, which I have on my Shadow, and I also had on the Canic for the review, is quite wonderful. So this is a very firmly installed optics plate. And unlike a lot of companies, this is a steel blanking plate, which I like quite a bit. You may not care. Give me 1 second, I'm looking for my alcohol. As with any optic installation, don't care who you are, you start by degreasing it. The only grease and lube that's in here is the stuff that I put on there when I opened the box, took the gun apart, and did my basic general inspection. So now we're good and degreased. And just in case you guys are curious, this is most assuredly an RMSC footprint. You don't have to use an adapter plate like you do on the full-size Masada. I wish I could show you the full-size Masada. It's at my house down in Florida right now. I am not in Florida. So let's go ahead and check out the Osight. Very nice packaging. README card. Then it opens up. You've got the optic right here. Very nicely padded packaging. You've got your little accessory kit that goes on the side. And one of the things that I am absolutely loving about Olight, and I wish to God other manufacturers would start doing, is they really do give you a wide variety of screws with this pistol. Or I'm sorry, with this optic. So you've got the Olight logoed adjustment tool. There are 2 battery compartment screws located on this front padded portion. So keep those in case you ever do need a spare. You have your cleaning cloth and your instructions. The biggest takeaway comparing the Osight S versus the Osight SE, they are the same size. This is 7071 aluminum. This is the OAL aluminum. It's just an alloy. This is a rechargeable battery. This takes a normal battery. So if the thought of having a rechargeable battery on your optic scares you like it does some people, this is your option here. This has only been out for about 4 days now. I would have had it a little bit sooner, but I'm not a big enough channel to get all the cool stuff. I don't know what thread pitch I'm going to need for the Masada, but it does come with 2 optic screws, right chaw. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the ones that came with the pistol. All right, nothing too complicated. We get cleaned up here, and then we'll go ahead and start getting set up for the maintenance. So now we're all set up. Let's go ahead and walk you through how to install the Osight SE onto your pistol. I'm installing this on the Masada Slim Elite. First step, take isopropyl alcohol, thoroughly degrease the top, remove any gun oil that's there. You don't want any gun oil whatsoever. Second, take your 90% isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. Get it good and soaked. Clean out the threads on the slide. Just like so. Take the screws that you intend to use for your installation and clean the threads. A lot of people think that this may be an extra step, but I'm telling you, as somebody who has spent his life working with hardware, all of this hardware comes with a type of oil, a storage oil, right? So something to keep in mind. I think I'm running out of battery. So we're going to go ahead and apply the Loctite. You don't want too much Loctite. You don't want too little Loctite. And yeah, I'm definitely out of battery. I'm going to go ahead and change the battery. I'll be right back. Apologize, had to change out the memory card and the battery. As I was. Take your isopropyl alcohol, clean your threads, clean the hardware for your screws. I have already applied Loctite 243 to them. So I'm just going to move that down off to the side. Next, you're going to go ahead and see these 2 little nubs up front. You're going to go ahead and there's 2 nubs at the very front of the pistol. You're going to make sure that it's properly seated in there. Give it a side-to-side wiggle just to make sure. And then I like to just put my thumb on the top. Now, I'm going to show you another trick as well that I see a lot of people don't practice, and you really should, in my opinion. But first off, let's go ahead and get the screws kind of sort of lined up. Oh no, I might need to go with longer screws. I may actually have to use the screws that came with the Olight. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Give me a second. This is a T10, by the way. Nope, we're good. We're good. I'm going to use the Masada screws. I've got at least, and I'll show you how to, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and back this out real quick, and I'm going to show you how to check for how much thread protrusion there will be. So take a look at that at the bottom. You see how much of that screw is sticking out. You need at least 3 threads, and that is 4 threads on each side. So this is the correct length of screw, in my opinion. What do I know? I'm just an aircraft guy. All right. So we're just going to loosely run these down. I'm just getting them in, 1 or 2 threads, and I'm going to show you why in a second. So you're going to leave just a little bit out. You take that very same Loctite, and you're going to put a drop just under the head of each of these screws. And this is going to give you just a little bit more of a solid lockup. So tilt it slightly. Put a little dot, a little dot. I sincerely apologize about not having my phone on vibrate. I'm sorry that you guys heard that. I won't edit it out. We rarely edit our fuck ups anyway. But you just want a tiny little bit to run around the head of the screw as you run it down, okay? Now before you could proceed, you still got your alcohol soaked Q-tip, right? Just go ahead and wipe up that Loctite. Any excess Loctite that may have flowed out of there. I'm just gonna dab it. Oh, dabby dab dab. And away we go. All right. Next, you're gonna take a torque wrench. Now, I'm gonna grab my T10 bit, which is not included with that torque wrench set for some unknown reason. I don't know why. I'm gonna change that one of these days. But in the meantime, I've got this. So, verify, verified, perfect fit. Okay. So according to the Osight instructions, it is 17 inch-pounds because this is an M4 thread. And in case you're curious, you can check your yellow card that comes with either the S or the SE, and it will tell you if you're using M4 threads, it's 17 inch-pounds. There you go. So here's 15, 16, 17. One. And if you just really want, if you're one of those double click guys, there you go. There was 2 clicks on each screw. And now your setup and your optic is properly mounted to your pistol. Let me show you what that looks like, how good that looks. On a lot of pistols, especially slimline pistols, like the Shadow CR920SP, you'll note that there's a little bit of a gap that hangs over on each side of the slide because this is a 1 inch wide gun and this is 1.2 inches. And just in case you still need proof positive, we're clear. Here's my Shield Plus, and as you notice, it is 1.1 inches, not 1 inch and not 1.2. So there's a little bit of a difference, and this is a Hollow Sun that's on this gun. This happens to be my EDC. I like these Osight optics so much that I want to buy another one already, and I've already got the battery operated one and the rechargeable one on my Shadow. When you watch a lot of the videos on YouTube, I need you guys to approach this with some common sense, right? You are not going to be beating the shit out of your optic with a brick. Let's be blunt. Let's be real. You're not going to do that, right? So why should you expect to watch a YouTube video where somebody's beating the shit out of their optic with a brick and be like, oh, that optic is garbage because it broke when he hit it with a brick? Logic. There's a great video. I can't remember the guy's name, but I'll put a link to his video in the description down below. And you can go watch that gentleman with a Glock 43X throw the gun around the range and nothing happened to the optic. So now you're going to take the battery tray screw out, which is very tiny, by the way. That's why they give you 2 spares. And you're just going to slightly pull this battery tab out. This is a very tight fit, which is exactly how it should be. Don't believe me? Ask your mom. Now, battery goes in like so, and in case you're curious, this is a CR1620 battery. There is a very nice rubber seal around the battery tray door, in case you guys are curious, and this is IPX7 waterproof. So now you're going to slide the battery door in all the way. It will stop, and then you're going to slide it another step of the way in. If you really want to go superhero with this, you can put a little Vaseline around the O-ring. However, as I noticed when I took it out to check the battery, it is already lubricated with some type of water displacing grease. I believe it's a silicone grease. So you're going to seat it all the way, fully. And now you've got this little standard screw here. And I am going to Loctite it. Am I telling you to Loctite it? No. You do whatever you want. I'm going to Loctite it. If you ever do get stuck trying to remove a Loctited screw, take a heat gun, especially if you use the correct Loctite, like I'm telling you to use, and get the 242 or the 243. You can just use a heat gun and break that mechanical bond enough to where you can very easily get the screw out. Now we're going to go ahead and seat it. I do not know if there's a torque spec on the battery tray, but I'm going to go consult the manual and I will be right back. So no, in fact, there is not a torque spec for the battery tray. That doesn't mean you need to superhero it. You just take it in until it's all the way tight and give it like 1/8 of a turn. Because we've thread locked this, we're good to go. Woo, this thing is bright. All right, so hold the minus and you can go from circle dot to just circle, back to circle dot. It's a 32 MOA circle and a 2 MOA dot. So I can tell right now, just out of the gate, that this is going to be pretty close when I go to bore sight it later. I have other videos where I demonstrate how to bore sight it, but you know what? I'm just going to take you along for the ride. So let's go. All right, so I want to apologize. I don't know if the previous audio came out, but I'm going to catch you up to where we are. I forgot to plug my microphone back into the camera. I apologize. As I said at the very beginning of this video, I'm super excited. I have ADD, so sometimes I just get a little woo. And this is one of those times where I'm like, woo, because I like it. Right, so I have Loctited, I've cleaned the hardware and the threads on the slide with isopropyl alcohol. I applied Loctite 243. I torqued it to 17 inch-pounds. I have removed the battery tray. There's a piece of plastic that blocks the battery. I've reinstalled the battery tray. I applied Loctite to the battery tray screw, and now we're caught up. So I have it adjusted right now to the 2 MOA dot, and I'm going to see if I can get this to come out on video. I'm not going to make any promises. I think it would help perhaps if I kill the overhead light and let the camera focus on the dot. These are really hard to get to come out properly on the camera. I just want to throw that out there. So I just saw it. Where'd you go? Okay, let me try turning the brightness up. One key difference between this and the Osight SE, other than the rechargeable and non-rechargeable, is that this does not have automatic brightness adjustment. This is manual brightness adjustment. Very clicky buttons, by the way. There we go. So there you can kind of see the dot. That's a 2 MOA dot. I know it appears much larger on camera. It's just, these things are hard to film. So go ahead and move to the next rectical option, which is the circle. So here's the 32 MOA circle, and I hope that that comes out properly. Let me try turning the brightness down a little bit. See if we can make that a little easier on the eyes and on the camera. So that's a 32 MOA circle. Next, we're going to press and hold the minus button, and here is your 2 MOA dot and your 32 MOA circle. I personally prefer just the dot. Simple, quick, fast, and easy. So this is the Masada Slim and the Osight SE unboxing and initial impressions. Let's talk about it. Glass is super clear. I have a good solid co-witness between the rear sights and the front sight. I've not changed these out. These are as it comes out of the box, okay? So once again, differences between this one we're clear. And the SE. This is the S and this is the SE. The only major difference is you get automatic brightness control and this is rechargeable. You do not get automatic brightness control and this is a replaceable battery. This is 7071 aluminum. This is what they call OAL aluminum. This is allegedly a stronger alloy. That's all. And just to give you an idea of what both of the Olights look like in their respective holsters, here's the Shadow. This is a Black Arch Protos. Black Arch, if you guys would hurry up and produce one of these for the Masada Slim, that would be amazing. As you can see, there's plenty of clearance on the Orpaz Defense holster. And I really wish Tenacor would make one for this pistol as well. So, you got 3 reviews in one. You got the Orpaz Defense holster, you got the Masada Slim Elite, and you got the Osight SE. I'm Byron. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go get this bore sighted and get off to the range. Later.